I like trying to make silk purses out of sow's ears. Part of it has to do with the hard scrabble side of my upbringing as a child in a world of CB radios, boom boxes, and chrome bias cassette tapes. Part of it has to do with the fact that I'm bored by unblemished perfection. I always preferred the charm of goofy girls with freckly faces and wonky knees, and I'm still with one of them to this day. Part of it has to do with sheer orneriness. I'm a big fan of ugly Tom Waits, but even when Mr. Waits is up to his ugliest hijinks, he's wreaking his sonic mischief with the finest of everything that money can buy. That includes highly regarded sound engineers. I enjoy no such luxuries. I said ugly, but maybe it's really the homely that I like. The beautifully homely. The pigeon that sprouts a peacock's tail, or the pig the wings of a swan. My favorite album of all time was lost in a drunken move across the world when I was still in my late 20s. It cannot be found online, not even in the Wayback Machine. It was a CD by a band based in the rural outskirts of Memphis, if memory serves, and which obviously never went anywhere, a fact that would be much to the world's chagrin did the world contain such a unicorn as Justice. Said album was recorded poorly on a 4-track machine in somebody's garage. If it was mixed, then it was mixed aggressively badly, as if the guy sitting at the channel strips bore some kind of a special grudge against the fact that tomorrow was Tuesday. It sounded like whoever had been responsible for transferring the master cassette to CD image had never even heard of noise reduction. And it was glorious. There's no point in even trying to explain why. That album was a swan-winged pig with dragon scales as darkly iridescent as the walls of a Halong Bay cave. And that pig had a strange fire that it was breathing. An organic chemical fire that sucked the air out of your lungs and made you forget about needing to breathe. The men responsible for producing such a chimera of sound must have stood at least 13 feet tall when they came to their senses in the dead of night and in the middle of a moonlit field. The blood matted in their fur, already beginning to dry and wrinkle and crack as the confused shrinking began. Listening to that album until the grooves would have worn out had it been an LP and not a CD inspired in me two contradictory revelations. The first was how incredibly amazing, miraculous even, was the quality of recordings I had grown up with in the 70s and 80s. The second was how amazing, miraculous even, an album could sound that was so lo-fi that you could have been forgiven for thinking it had been lost in a fishing accident and later reclaimed from the floor of a dried-up swamp. Here's a little lo-fi stunt I pulled today with a $10 Chinese acoustic guitar. And a Samson drum mic. I think it's called a Q-Tom specifically. And an hour that I had just lying around. The mic is one of a set of 3 that I purchased used yesterday, and of course I wanted to see what would happen if I used one of them for purposes contrary to its design. Now these drum mics are hypercardioid, so I didn't even bother setting up in my little makeshift tracking booth here off to my left. I recorded both the guitar and the vocal parts right where I'm sitting right now. And the guitar sounds sounds pretty awful. And the vocal not much better. And so you've been nothing if not warned. Am I ashamed of what I've done? No. Should I be ashamed of what I've done? Well, I'm certain that you, dear viewer, will waste no time in coming to your own conclusion in that regard. Now, curiosity may have killed a cat or two, but it's never killed me yet. So I was fascinated to hear how this turned out with zero deliberation and a purely impulsive series of selections from my free toolkits. Now I will quickly run through the chains, then hit play, get out of the way, and enjoy the fact that I'm now too old and dyed in my particular wool to give a hoot about being embarrassed by failures that I deem interesting. And at the very least, you'll get to see why, well, rather, you'll get to observe the fact that Airwindows Hit Record Meter, human ears has not. So, without any further ado, here goes. All right, so moving quickly along, we've got track 1 and track 2. Didn't even bother to name the tracks. Track 1 is the guitar. And what do we got? Well, I'm running Airwindows Console 8, so we've got Console 8 channel in. These are all free plugins. We've got Analog Obsession Cheneve, Airwindows Coils. That's for second harmonic spike. That's a trick setting right there for second harmonic spike. Tape Fat. Airwindows Tape Fat. Airwindows Density with a little bit of a high pass. Airwindows Focus. Analog Obsession SSQ. Acon Digital Multiply. Detune it a little bit. It's a cheap-ass guitar. It's not intonated properly, nor can it be. Airwindows Acceleration. Airwindows Ombre. Airwindows Luxor. Yeah, there's a lot of plugins, but this thing about Airwindows, each one is doing a highly specific modular thing. Airwindows Tube Desk. TDR Nova. So it got the vocal side chained. Console 8 channel out. Then we got the vocal track. Then we got Console 8 channel in. Airwindows Coils. Analog Obsession Cheneve. Analog Obsession Loads. That's a de-esser. Really good de-esser, man. SSQ once again. Analog Obsession Mid-Boss. Little goes a long way. Analog Obsession Lala. It's this LA2A. Opto Compressor. Airwindows Precious. Console 8 channel out. I've got 3 buses over here. I've got my Wolfbot bus, I've got my Reverb bus, and I've got one bus for Ombre. Airwindows Ombre. Another layer of Ombre. And that's running into my 2 bus where I've got bit shift gain into Console 8 bus in. And then not using that, TDR Nova for bass and treble energy control. Chow Tape Fat on the TC260 preset. Another gain stage with bit shift gain. I got to pause while I reset this. Tokyo Dawn Records TDR Finesse at the settings that you see here. Mid-side button engaged for whatever the hell it's worth. Airwindows Golden Slew. Airwindows Air 4, Tone Boosters Barricade V4, True Peak setting, transparent. Finally, console 8 bus out. That's it. Now it's time to play. This is not a whole song. This is a song I wrote, I don't know, a couple, 3 months ago. And I didn't finish it. I just had enough time to do the first part of it. It's called A Tale of Two Men. I'll finish it one of these days. This is just for purposes of demonstration. Okay, I'm going to pause one more time, make sure everything is in working order, and then I'll play through this, and I'm out of here. Now, once again, this is why Airwindows Hit Record Meter ratings are not to be coveted nor pursued in and of themselves in their own right. Because while Hit Record Meter is an amazingly useful tool, human ears it has not. Away we go.
He had 18 odd years of innocence without a plan. Enough time to get cocked like a gun and considered a man. Never much good at books, but he knew how to revel. He had gangly good looks and could fight like the devil. Did 2 tours in Iraq, 1 in Afghanistan. Came home to the same forsaken old hill. With scars full of shrapnel and a penchant for pills. And he limped every day to his job at the mill. Shacked up with some thought, fell behind on the bills. And the dreams tortured him, but at least there were thrills to be had in the Hades of the fever and chills. So he did the most sensible thing, cut bait, threw his hat in the ring.
May the winds of clarity blow ever in your favor. Over and out.